Welcome back, our dear viewers. In light of our previous topic, we have over the phone His Excellency Ambassador Mr. Ayoub Mahmoud Ayoub, former Minister Commercial. Mr. Ayoub, good morning.
Good morning to you and to the viewers.
How are you, dude?
Alhamdulillah.
First, we'd like to ask you, what are some of the steps that Egypt has recently taken to support Gaza?
Egypt has done a lot of efforts as far as Gaza is concerned. This is not for today or yesterday, it is for years and decades now. Egypt is supporting Gaza in all respects of life. In water, in food, in political assistance, in political support, and in every respect. That is why many countries now are transferring their aid to Gaza through El Arish and Egypt. And that is why Egypt is doing this, because Gaza is a part of the Arab world, and also it is occupied territory by international law and by United Nations resolutions. That's why Egypt is doing this big efforts in this respect, and you are paying the price for it.
Mr. Ayoub, talk to us about Egypt's role in promoting the dialogue between the conflicting parties, and how successful has this role been?
Egypt is doing this because it is important and it must succeed. Egypt is garnering support of many countries in the world and in the region to support peace process in Gaza, so that we come to settlement and peace in Gaza, because it is crucial not only to the Palestinians but also Egypt and the neighboring countries. Peace is possible and peace is a must as far as Gaza is concerned. Otherwise, the human sufferings will escalate, whether in Gaza or in Israel or other parts of the world. So Egypt is doing this for humanity, for peace, and for the settlement of this dispute between the Palestinians and the occupying forces of Israel.
What are the challenges facing Egypt now in its attempts to achieve peace, and how does it overcome them?
In fact, the challenges are numerous and various, from the Palestinian side, from the splinter groups, and also from Israeli side. Egypt is trying to bring peace together, these parties together, so that we can find a way of life for both parties. Otherwise, situation will be far worse than what it is now. So we have convened conferences and conferences in Cairo itself, so that we can the different parties and the warring parties can come to compromises as far as what we can do together tomorrow, and so that the people of Gaza, the Palestinians in Gaza, can live a human and decent human life, and also the Israelis will not be suffering more from casualties from their forces and their civilians, as far as because they are aggressors in this respect. We need to create settlement and peace so that both parties can live and can survive.
Mr. Ayoub, can you elaborate on Egypt's collaborations with other nations to ensure support for peaceful solutions?
Egypt has initiated for the process of peace and settlement with Israelis, Palestinians, with the Americans, with the European Union, and even with Russia and China, so that we can come to a compromise that is mutually beneficial for all the parties concerned. When I say all the parties, I mean the two parties of the Palestinians and the Israelis, and that is why we have convened conferences here in Egypt, so that we can find a compromise and one way or other, so that we can live together, or they can live together in peace and without any more atrocities against Palestinians in their own land. And that is why he finds it crucial for Egypt itself, that we don't want any exodus for the Palestinians from their own land to other parts in Egypt. And that is why Egypt is taking care that the Palestinians should be kept in their own land, and they should have a decent life without intrusion to the Egyptian territory or Sinai.
Mr. Ayoub, we'd like to know your elaboration on President El-Sisi has repeatedly condemned the Israel's genocide war in Gaza, criticizing the international community silence. Can you elaborate on that, please?
President Abdel Sisi has repeatedly condemned the aggression in Gaza and asked the world public opinion, the influential powers, influential powers, I mean the United States and the European Union and the Jews in the United States, to press the government in Tel Aviv to stop aggression against Palestinians, and that is why Egypt is taking the main role in bringing peace back to Palestine and the occupied territory, and that is why Egypt is supported by many peace-loving forces in the world, and that's why it is achieving some success, but we need to continue in this process because we need to keep our land intact without any intrusion from this or that force, and that is why President Abdel Sisi is calling, and he has traveled as far as Germany and other countries in the world so that we can find a peace settlement in the Middle East and in Gaza itself.
Mr. Ayoub, from your Excellency's point of view, how do you see Egypt in the future in the context of playing a peaceful role in the region?
Egypt is a peaceful and stable country. What President Abdel Sisi is doing is to ensure this is forced as its position in the Arab world and in Africa, and that is why many investors are coming to Egypt when they see a stable country, and we need to continue the process of peace and peaceful settlement in Gaza and Palestine so that more stability and more prosperity comes to Egyptians themselves. We have the government has done a lot in this respect, and this is supported by the people themselves, and we are keen to find that peace is possible, and peace should be realized in Gaza so that the Palestinians can live in peace and in a modest life. We supply Gaza with all its needs of food, of medication, of water, with everything. We are doing this or sacrificing it from the hands and mouths of the Egyptians so that we can give them a better chance of life, and Egypt should be commended for that. And that is why all the people, all the Egyptians are supporting the governance of it, efforts in this respect, and that the world public opinion is quite respects what Egypt is doing, but what Egypt is doing should be also supported by the other governments who are supporting Israel and supplying them with arms and ammunition.
Mr. Ayoub, after the successful conference to enhance the humanitarian response in Gaza, what do you think are the very soon and upcoming efforts of Egypt to support the Gaza and the Palestinian people?
The humanitarian, I would say, the humanitarian conference which was held by Egypt and at its request is bringing results. But we need also to support not only of the people and the public opinion, but also of the governments, because some governments are hostile to peace, hostile to stability in this part of the world at the expense of the Palestinians. And Palestinians are there, they are there, and will be there all the time. It will take 1 year or 1,000 years. They will never lose hope in their own country as an independent country. The United Nations released several resolutions, and Egypt is doing its best at this respect, and also sacrificing a lot of resources in this respect, and that's why there is respect for what Egypt is doing, but the respect should be translated to action to press Israel to stop aggression in Gaza.
Your Excellency, do you believe there will be a ceasefire soon happening in Gaza, just like what happened in Lebanon?
What we are seeing in Lebanon and Syria and other parts of the Arab world is a reflection of what is happening in Gaza. Aggression in Gaza should stop now, otherwise the Netanyahu government will collapse. So otherwise, if the the Israelis do not stop aggression in Gaza, they will be condemned and they will be defeated at the end of the day. That's why the Israeli government is doing its best now. They are diverting attention from Gaza to Syria and to South Lebanon, but at the end of the day, they will be defeated because the people of the area, the people of the region are against the aggression. The people, they want to live in peace. That is why the Israeli aggression is condemning the Israelis themselves, because the world is against this aggression and the world is with peace in this sacred land of Palestine, and that's why Egypt is doing its best to create a platform for settlement between the warring parties, that is Palestinians, and the occupying forces of the Israelis, and that's why Egypt should be supported by all the countries of the world in this respect, because otherwise any further deterioration will spill out to other parts of the world, not only to the Middle East.
Your Excellency, we'd like to finally ask you, who are the future partnerships that Egypt's going to make to reach peace and stability in the Middle East region?
I think that the main parties in this respect are the Palestinians themselves, the Israelis, the United Nations, and the EU should be involved in this process, because Egypt is one of the biggest trading parties with the European Union. So all these parties should come together to press the Israelis so that we can reach a settlement, a viable settlement, which will continue with time, regardless of who is governing, which government is in Tel Aviv. We are sure that this process should gain the respect and support of the people, and it remains to be seen whether this government in Tel Aviv will abide by the international law or not. And I think that the world public opinion and the world powers should press Israelis to stop aggression in Gaza so that we can create peace in this important part of the world, so that it will not spill, the violence will not spill to other parts of the world, whether in the Middle East or in Europe or in this United States itself.
Mr. Ayoub, Mahmoud Ayoub, Your Excellency, it was very delightful to have you with us over the phone. This brings us to the end of our episode now. It was very delightful to have you watching us and discuss several topics. This was Lubna Yahya bringing to you this edition. Thank you for watching Now TV International.